Hi everyone. So we are going to do it for the interest graph. So previously you already learned the simple interest and the compound interest. So right now we want to look at how is the graph going to look like for the interest. We need to compare between two. One is simple interest, second one will be compound interest. So let's look here. So a graph is an easy way to show the amount of interest. So when actually amount of interest means the interest value. What is the interest value that is earned over a certain period for an investment? So they provide a valuable tools in comparing different investment. So which is a graph, because graph I can easily compare what's the amount difference over here. So let's look at what is the interest graph for the simple interest. So a graph for simple interest will always represent an increasing straight line. Simple interest. Impossible is decreasing because interest earned over here will be increasing. Okay, so that's why it's increasing straight line graph. So is it actually is same as your arithmetic and geometric? If you forget, actually it's same as your arithmetic geometric. And over here the dots are never to be joined because interest is calculated in discrete period. Discrete period over here means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interest cannot be calculated for duration. Okay, t equals to 1.2. What is that? Or t equals to 0.05. What is that? Cannot. So it's not calculated continuous. So when you draw the graph later, please do not join the line, the dot. Alright, so let's look at the first one. Question, example 13. So Rachel invests 2,000 in an account that earns 6% per annum simple interest. So construct a graph that shows the value of the investment A. Okay, so I highlight this one in dollar for n years. Okay, so over here the n I want to change to t for the rest of the questions. So please remember the n I want to change to t. I don't want you to confuse the n over here and the compound period n. So we change to t. So I want to find for value of t from 0 to 5. So right now I want to create a graph. So before I create a graph, of course I need to have a value. Okay, so let's see how I do over here. So I write down all the information. First I have a principal 2,000, and after that I have this 6% will be our interest rate R. So 6%, as I mentioned, always convert to the decimal places, 0.06. Okay, how are you going to find the interest earned for this simple interest? I equals to P times R times T. This is the only formula that you learn. So 2,000 times 0.06 times T. So you will get 120 T. But my question over here is I want to find the amount of the investment A. So A will be same as P plus I, total amount. So your principal is 2,000 plus 120i. Why 120i? Because the interest over here I get from this part 120i. So right now I have the general equations. I can substitute into my equation. I can substitute the t value in my equation over here and to get the value. So let's see. So just now I already substitute the value. So I rewrite over here. I might have my A 2000 plus 120t. So you just substitute when t equals to 0. This one change to t. Yeah? T equals to 0, your A is 2000. When t equals to 1, that means you substitute into this equation, you get 2120. And when t equals to 2, substitute again. And when t equals to 3, and when t equals to 4, and when t equals to 5, 6. Okay, so that is how you complete a table, generate the value. Okay, next one, you look at the graph this for this part. So once you have the value, so you just have to plot the dot over here. So t equals 0 is 2000. That means this is, I just plot over here. Then when t equals to 1, is 2120 slightly over here, and for t equals to 2240, so over here actually there's a hint. You see the light? Okay, I just follow. So I just follow over here. So that means actually your interest earned away is behave as a straight line. Okay, so that's why in simple interest will give you a straight line pattern. So let's look at the other one. Or before that, I still have one question I haven't answered. So if this were a straight line graph, yes, obviously it's a straight line graph. So what would be the gradient? Okay, so look at this equation again. So you have A equals to 2000 plus 120t. So do you still remember your chapter 1 what you learned, the least square regression line? Y equals to A plus bx, right? So right now it's same, just the alphabet different. So your b will be your gradient. So right now your b is 120, which will be your gradient. So this 120, what is that means by 120? So that means this 120 is the simple interest earned per year. So this 120 is represent I earn simple interest $120 per year over here. Okay, so let's look at the second one for the compound interest. So they say in a graph of the value that investment earning compound interest will grow to against time will always resemble as increasing exponential graph. So that means your compound interest over here actually is be similar as your geometric sequence. The dot should never be joined because interest is calculated in discrete period. As I mentioned just now, we do not have any decimal places when we calculate the time. T equals 1.1, no such thing, because it's not calculated continuously. So let's look at the question. So Rose invests 2000 in an account that earned 8% per annum interest compounded yearly. Construct a graph that shows the amount A of the investment in dollar for n years for value of n from 0 to 10. As I mentioned previously, this n please change to the t. I don't want you to confuse the compounding period with this n value. So when I want to construct a graph to show the total amount over here, of course I need to find out the equation first. What's the equation to find the compound interest? So I label down the information. Principal right now I have 2000, and the interest over here R is 8%. Please change to decimal places, 0.08. And your question is compounded yearly. So your compounding period n is equals to 1. Frequency is just 1 time. And formula for finding the total amount, there's only one P, 1 plus R divided by N times NT. So the A value is the value I want to look for, and the P value over here is 2000. So 1 plus your R 0.08 divided by compounding period 1 times T. So you just have to simplify. So you get 1.08 power of T. So this will be your formula. So let's look at the second step. What should I do once I have this formula? Of course, I need to substitute when t equals to 0 until t equals to 10. Wow, such a long step over here. So hold on. Ta-da! Right now, this is a magic. So I have all the value over here. So let's look at this one. When you have a general, I mean, you have a formula already. Remember, not n, it's t. We already changed just now. So this one will be t as well. And this one will be t as well. So how you get this value A1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I show you this is how you get. This one you just have to change to t. When t equals 2, substitute into an equation 1.08 power of 2. So you get 2332.8. But over here, but actually in the exam you need to give maximum 2 decimal places. Maximum 2 decimal places because this is a currency, remember? But over here I did not give any 2 decimal places. Why? Because I'm drawing graph. The graph impossible you can draw as accurate as possible, not possible. So that's why I put a remark over here. graph as accurately as possible, but it's important to remember that on a hand drawn graph, it's not possible to graph with this level of accuracy. Impossible. In your graph you show me that there is exactly 2 decimal places. That is too much already. Okay, so you just have to put to the round to the nearest dollar. There'll be enough lah, nearest value. So that's how I get. So once you have this value, you need to plot into your diagram. Let's see. Okay, right there. I also plot into my diagram already. So this is what I look at. You look at your diagram over here. It's not a straight line. It's like a curve. This curve. So this is an exponential curve where we learn in the chapter 5, the geometric sequence is roughly the same. Okay, so right now you have a little bit idea about the simple interest graph and the compound interest graph. So they have both different over here. One is exponential, the other one will be a straight line. So let's look at the last one. Example 15. Or maybe I use another video to discuss with you the example 15. So let's look at the other video. Alright.